Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm fishing the larger lake at Myrtle Grove, so it's time to go pad fishing and not only catch fish, but spend a lot of time clearing a bait of algae. Yeah, I spend a lot of time that could be dedicated to fishing, tinkering with camera setups and framing shots. Anyone that has a fishing YouTube channel or just likes to video their adventures knows what I'm talking about. And I just run 2 cameras at the moment. I'm down a camera ever since my Hero 8 decided to go for a swim. GoPro Plus account insurance to the rescue. I keep all the charging doors open on my cameras to provide them with external power. That keeps you from spending even more time switching out batteries and dropping them in the water. Combine external power with large SD cards, and once you have them set up and running, you can usually forget about them and focus on the fishing. Now, you may wonder why. I get that question a lot, as do a lot of other YouTubers, I'm sure. I can't answer that question for them, but I can tell you why I video my adventures and take the time to edit them together. The answer is really twofold. Obviously, making videos and engaging an audience is good content for Chesapeake Angler print magazine. There's more to it than that for me. I enjoy inspiring other people to get out and fish. I think our sport is amazing, and I have dedicated a portion of my life to enjoying it by helping others enjoy it. And YouTube is full of some amazing fishing channels. Just a few that have inspired me would be 618 Fishing. Nick does an amazing job, and I have spent countless minutes of my life watching him not catch fish and enjoying it nonetheless. Hang on, here comes a fish. The first dink fish of the day came quick, but that really helps you identify patterns and colors. If the small ones are there, so are the big ones, and the smaller fish see colors the same as the larger ones. So you guys are hanging out in pads. One. Christine Fisher, she's a talented angler. She does an awesome job covering not only the kayak tournament trail, but also what it's like to live that kind of life. If you haven't seen her channel, then you're missing out on great tips and great fishing. Locally here in Maryland, there are so many great YouTube channels as well. Rhino Fishing TV covers a lot of the same water I do, and he does it really well. He also does a lot of tackle giveaways, an idea I might steal, so be on the lookout for some giveaways in the near future. So here, this is the first scoring size fish of the day. I threw 2 baits all day. A Missile Baits Baby D Bomb Creature Bait, rigged weightless and weedless, and a green Senko worm wacky rig for when I could pitch it into open water spots in those pads. Both baits did really well today. Now, as I mentioned earlier, when you're pad fishing, you're going to spend a lot of time clearing your baits of grass and algae. It's important to take the time to examine your bait every few casts, if not after every cast. That buildup can turn fish off from your bait, plus that grass and algae can cover your hook point, decreasing your hookup rate when a fish does take your bait. I also find it helpful to keep 2 similar baits in play for a throwback. So if a fish misses your bait on a strike, which happens frequently in thick cover, a throwback bait can put you on that fish with a second chance. I've been measuring almost every catch since I started fishing the Kayak Bass Fishing Monthly State Challenge series. It's good practice on not losing fish over the side of the boat before you can snap that pic required for catch photo release style tournaments. I used to measure fish in my lap, but after some consideration and tinkering, I now lay my hog trough in the bottom of the boat with the bump board towards the front or the bow of the boat. The back of the board sits up on a small ledge under my seat, helping move the fish nose down on the bump board. If the fish flops and comes off the board, it is much more likely to stay in the boat than measuring on my lap. Hand positioning is also important when taking a CPR photo. And for KBF, you cannot have a finger under the gill plate. The eye must be visible to ensure a live catch. And you need to have everything clearly visible, which can be tough with glare in the water. And of course, you need to be able to read the scoring length clearly. I'm glad to say I have only lost one fish over the side of the boat and have only had one photo disqualified due just to the tip of my finger sliding under the gill plate. It's even better that both of those fish, the one that flopped and the one that got DQ'd, were smaller fish and would have eventually culled off of my leaderboard. It would make me sick to have a problem like that with a 20-plus inch fish. Hence the need to practice, practice, practice. So if you're into snakehead fishing, a couple of feeds come to mind for your video fix. Cambo trout, he catches awesome fish, huge fish. And not only snakeheads, but he catches a lot of bass too. And he packages his videos just full of excitement and knowledge. Definitely one to check out. As does Blackwater's Edge podcast. Now they're both an audio podcast, and you can find them on YouTube via video content as well. They stream their recordings of their podcast, which I think brings another dimension to the typical podcast format. All of their shows just jam-packed with content and chock full of great information. This day wasn't necessarily one of those days that you would write home about. I did manage to lose count of the number of fish I caught, which always means it's a good day, but it was a quantity over quality type of a day, which is just fine. I mean, who doesn't enjoy catching a lot of fish? I was able to score 2 fish just shy of 14 inches for my leaderboard, which will hopefully get culled off by larger fish. The lake at Myrtle Grove gets a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of bank fishermen. But the good news for us kayak anglers is there's an easy entry ramp, ample parking, and a lot of bank that is not necessarily accessible by bank fishing. And this takes away some of the fishing pressure from those locations. There are a lot of shallow pad fields in the lake, plus some deeper water along the dam side of the lake. And I don't typically target them, but I also know the lake has plenty of panfish like bluegill and crappie. I can imagine this lake, with all of the bank fishing that's available, would be a fantastic place for a family outing. Take some kids, take some night crawlers, throw them out there underneath of a bobber, and I'm pretty sure you're going to have a good time. Here you're going to see a great tactic when you have a long, straight bank. After you fish what looks like a good section of the bank, move your kayak or boat into that space and cast along the bank. This keeps your bait in the strike zone for a longer period of time, increasing your hookup rate while minimizing the time it takes to cover water. This is a really valuable tactic when the bite is a slow, subtle bite and you're finding yourself working baits very, very slowly. Hey y'all, thanks for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Myrtle Grove Lake is a really great fishery. I know it's primarily known as a place that DNR stocks trout in the spring, but it holds some really quality bass, and it holds them in some numbers, and you can practice a lot of different fishing techniques that you can take out into other waters as well. So if you haven't done so yet, please take just a moment, consider clicking that subscribe button. It would mean a lot. As for the other YouTube channels that I mentioned, I am going to drop some links down into the show description. Down in those show notes, you'll be able to find links directly over to their channels. You can also just search YouTube and you're going to find them just as easily, but links always work best. Until next time, everybody, tight lines.